Hello, 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 everybody. I am so honored to introduce this amazing filmmaker from Country Love. We have Wapah Ezeigwe. They are a Femi non-binary filmmaker from Nigeria. They graduated magna cum laude from the University of Nigeria and studied literature as a contributor to the longest surviving student literary library in West Africa. Wapah, they are currently amongst the 20 young West African filmmakers selected for the multi-choice talent factory. Their film explores an assortment of different topics in such a beautiful piece here today. Everyone just hello, Wapah, and welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Trent, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Wapah, one of my first questions was just kind of like take us into the, take us into the source of what inspired this film, Wapah. I thought that it feels kind of personal, it feels homely, it feels like this is a very close narrative. So I want to know how that came about.
All right, thank you so much. I feel so happy being here, being on Out on Film. It's a big pleasure, honestly. And okay, to your question, how Country Love came about. I used to be a contributor when I was an undergraduate. I used to be a contributor for the Muse Journal, which is the longest surviving journal in West Africa, student journal, founded by the late Professor Emeritus Chinua Achebe. So then I do contribute, I write poetry for the Muse. And there was a time I came across a poem in the Muse, and the title of the poem is Stay. I can't really remember the poet's name of the poet, but the poem, back then when I read the poem, it actually lingered so much because the title Stay, it brought this sort of feeling to me, this sort of emotion, and it created this scenario about a queer person that doesn't feel at home because of their own identity. And so they are in that space where they are torn apart. Should I stay or should I leave? So I wanted to capture that whole feeling, that whole scenario, that whole struggle of staying or leaving home. And because I feel we being queer here in Nigeria, that is one particular struggle we face here. Yes, particularly with family members. So that is why you see in Country Love, I'm exploring it in the African home, in the African setting, which is the family, because most queer people, that is the struggle for them. Aside religion, the biggest struggle is the family. Should I come out to my family? Should my family be aware that I am queer? And even when they find out that you are queer, are they comfortable with your identity as a queer person, with your sexuality as a queer person? So you find yourself in that space where you're always struggling. Should I stay here at home and pretend not to be queer and get married to a woman, conform to what society wants, or should I leave and be who I am unapologetically? You get so. I think its Country Love came from that very feeling, that very narrative.
No, thank you so much for that. I hear stay. I think Kambili definitely wanted to stay in the film, and he wanted to make everything right and establish that family relationship there. I'm sorry, my cat's in the background is going to be silly. But I did want to ask, you mentioned family, which I thought was a very prominent theme within this film and kind of a focal point. Can you talk just a little bit about the sister's influence, maybe that inspiration, what the sister kind of represents for, I guess, Kambili's like comfort and placement within his own home and their own community?
Can you repeat the question?
Absolutely, sorry. So I was asking about the sister and kind of the family dynamic between Kambili and the friction there. I wanted to ask how that represents, I would say, as some of the problems that Kambili is struggling with throughout the film. I want to ask maybe how that the sister, and I would try to say this without like spoiling anything, of course, but like how is the sister's kind of dynamic with Kambili towards the end and the final resolve of it? Is that a reflection of the community there? Is that a reflection of kind of the language and conversations within the Nigerian household. I wanted to ask just maybe about the family dynamic within the film.
Okay, all right, thank you. For that, Kambili and the sister, there is definitely love. There is this bond, because here in Nigeria, here in Africa, one thing you do not overlook is family bond, especially between siblings. There is always bond. So, but then whenever the conversation about queerness comes up, it's always something that it strains relationships here. And that is what we vividly see between Kambili and Nneka, the sister. Definitely, Nneka is fine with Kambili in all ramifications, but your sexuality, she finds it difficult to believe or to even accept that, oh, Kambili is queer, Kambili is in love with another, with the same gender, same sex, you get. So at the end of the day, it's always it reflects our experiences here in Nigeria. Definitely, there are families that are opening up. There are families that they've evolved in the way they think, in the way they reason, and there are families that are accepting their loved ones that come out to them. Oh, fine. Especially the younger generation, they are accepting. They are beginning to, because of this whole the whole social media, the whole conversation we're having nowadays, feminism, Me Too, human rights now matters. And so there are people that are beginning to listen to these conversations, and they are beginning to imbibe it in their family, especially when their loved one comes out to them, oh, look, I'm queer, this is the way I am, this is my sexuality. They're like, fine, because what happened, we are getting influences from social media. But at the same time, a larger portion of families here in Nigeria is just like what we see in the film Country Love. That's relationship between Kambili and the sister. They love you, they love you, they love you. But then just don't tell them that you're gay. Just don't tell them that you're queer. You might even say I'm queer, but they could tell you, okay, fine, but please don't say it out because it's an embarrassment to the family. You get, so they'd be like, keep it to yourself. Or they feel like, oh, okay, as time goes on, you can change. And that was what we see in Nneka. That was what Nneka believed as regards Kambili, that so definitely as time goes on. In fact, there was an expectation. Kambili has been gone for 15 years, and then he comes back. She's expecting that, well, I guess you should have changed. I mean, there should have been some sort of transformation. Probably your homosexuality or your queerness was only a phase. But definitely, queerness is not a phase. It is like every other. You can't say being Black is a phase, or being white is a phase, or being heterosexual is a phase. That's a lie. You get, so, and I think that is one thing most people in Nigeria, I'm going to say it here, most people in Africa, they hold on to that belief that it's a phase. You're going to pass that phase, and it's a lie. It's a big lie, because it's never a phase, and your identity is always your identity. So that is actually the conflict between Nneka and Kambili. That is the deep conflict between them. But that does not mean that they don't love each other. There is love there. There is this bond. There is the bond of siblinghood. But then, as usual, what we see that strains many families here in Africa, here in Nigeria, which is sexuality, is what actually tears them apart.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. I definitely felt the love. I think that there was a lot of heartache, a lot of pain in the kind of resolve of that in the end. And I thought it was a beautiful piece. To that, I feel like another question I have was just about the style and some of the creative choices that you made. I think that this one of my favorite pieces about this film is just how beautiful and queer not only is Kambili represented in the film, but just some elegant angles and shots just of Kambili and glamorizing, this Black African queer male. Can you talk about what that was like, making, creating, being in that space, being on set, China, because I think I see that, not only see it through the film, I just see the energy and the focus of that, especially while Kambili's doing their makeup, while they're in the room reminiscing about, what it was like being back home and stuff like that. There's just a lot of queer and sparkle in that. So if you wanted to maybe share about some of the being on set, representing Kambili on screen, and his choices there.
Okay, for Kambili, and most of the things, the character Kambili, I was very deliberate about how I tried to portray him. Very, very deliberate, from the costume to the characterization, everything, because I was trying to avoid portraying a character that is weak, the usual narrative of a weak, struggling character that's not yet in good terms with their sexuality. So I was trying to avoid that. And so I wanted to beautify the femme identity. I wanted to beautify the queer identity as well. And I think that is one of the biggest motivation for me. And that is why at the end of the film, we see Kambili, the decision Kambili makes, it's for their own well-being. It's a powerful decision because for him, it is identity first. And when it comes to being on set, definitely there are lots of difficulties, lots and lots, because here it's one thing to be, I keep saying it, it's one thing to be a filmmaker, and it's another thing to be a queer filmmaker that is making a queer film in a queerphobic society. It's very tough. So being on set was definitely hard. It was hard. There were times I have to lie to be able to achieve what I want, to get what I want. People would ask you, what are you doing? What was the reason? You could go to a place, I need this particular location, and they ask you, what sort of film are you making? Because they would definitely want to know what sort of film you're making. Sometimes, most of the times I had to lie. Like for me to get the younger Kambili and the younger Ifediora, I had to lie over there. I had to lie, oh, okay, I'm trying to tell a story about brothers and stuff. So I don't know, oh, that's fine. Because if you tell them you're trying to tell a queer story, nobody is going to listen to you. You are not going to achieve what you want. So I feel for most queer filmmakers, we want to tell queer stories. That is the only way to get past it. So for me to get most of my sets, and I wanted this whole natural atmosphere, and because of the film, the feel of the film, which is in the countryside, I looked at Eastern Nigeria, because I schooled in Eastern Nigeria, precisely Enugu. So I went back to my university, like coming back to the university and then having this whole feeling of where I've been, the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. And so I felt this is actually the right place for me to tell this story. Yeah, because I felt it has lots of magic, from the hills to the trees to the green atmosphere. And it's kind of, aside beautifying the film, it also beautifies my character as well. And also it holds the substance of the film. So basically, yeah, it was very deliberate. Everything was deliberate. The shots, the characterization, Kambili himself, everything was very deliberate, because I was very, very key about giving out a picture that is very beautiful, a queer picture that is beautiful, that it's different from the narrative we've always had, which is this very terrible narrative about being queer. So I wanted to make it beautiful, which is, I think it's very deliberate for me.
No, I think for sure beauty, as well as just a strong narrative lead, I think was a great combination to this film, and one that definitely made me really encourage us to select it and put us into that program. Like you said, it's very hard and kind of discouraging to see kind of Black queers and Black, especially femi, and femi masculine and femi representing queer men in the media. And I feel like there's another element to where they continue to have to kind of fit a narrative, where they have to struggle, or they have to, be miserable. And I feel like Kambili, while not everything was great, and everything didn't maybe check every box for them, Kambili still walked away from everything he experienced on his return back home with a head held high and a face beat and beautiful, and just encouraging and empowering for other Black youth. So I do thank you for that, and I did note it. No, I wanted to ask a little bit about what it is you're doing next. Is there anything coming up in the works? What can we expect to hope from you, Wapah?
Okay. For now, I'm still looking because I just started out as a filmmaker. Country Love is my debut film. Um, so I'm still looking forward to make. I want to make short films. I want to be slow with the pace. I still want to make queer films because I think that's not that I think that is strongly my artistic
That's all we wanted to
identity.
hear. What's next? Is there more coming?
Yeah. I just love to center queer folks. I love to center queer folks a lot. So definitely I have the screenplay for my next short film out already, and I'll be collaborating with someone, but we don't know for now when that is going to be. But sure, um, very soon it would, let's say early next year or thereabout. But for now, we are just doing the pre-production, trying to write and rewrite the draft for the screenplay in order to like give something much more better than Country Love. Of course, we always want to be better in the craft.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, I was gonna say, do you have any shout outs you might want to make? Anybody you might want to talk to that you brought you here that has pushed you to this point? Feel free to.
Oh, first, my siblings, my siblings, my brother Wapah Ezeigwe, he single-handedly sponsored the film. Yeah, my brother as well. My siblings, they're so beautiful. They really stood by me like, yeah, do it. It's your calling. You love film. My brother Sumto Ezeigwe as well. My sister Oluchi Ezeigwe. My parents, Shedrack Ezeigwe, Fidelia Waneka Ezeigwe as well. The Ezeigwe in total, they are strongly behind me when it comes to making film. I'm sticking to my niche and my voice. And then to the cast and crew, they were beautiful. Uzamaka Onoha, the actor that played Neka, she's gorgeous. Kelechi Michaels as well, Campbell himself. I don't know, those people, I mean, without them, I don't think there would be Country Love. There would not be Country Love at all. Then the crew, lots of them, Kenny Basile. And one thing you don't know, all my crews are actually heterosexuals. Every one of them are. So one of the people that they're like, what? Heterosexuals? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm so happy because I see young people who have evolved and who, that is what they call allies. That's the meaning of allies. People that are always, your ally might not be there protesting with you, but now in art, they are there supporting your art. Yes, let's make this film. Let's tell this story. We had less queer people on set and more of heterosexuals, honestly.
Wow.
And still, yeah.
And something amazing and some amazing magic happened. And I think your guidance, under the truth and the brilliance in which you wrapped that narrative around, I think something amazing happened. And as you said, allies, it is about being able to support and being able to build to a better community and engagement as it relates to homophobia, transphobia, and femiphobia. But yes, Wapah, thank you so much for this chat. Country Love is available on the 35th anniversary screening for Out on Film. You can get your tickets directly on our website. It will be streaming for the entirety of our festival, and I believe there will be an extended encore session and screenings. So yeah, thank you so much again, Wapah, and everyone, and my cat behind me. Sorry, but yeah, thank you so much, Wapah. I hope to hear from you soon. Please keep us posted. Let us know when the next films or series are coming out. We are really looking forward to that, and thank you so much for this film, Country Love.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Cheers. Alrighty. Cheers.